The world of primordial waters. 5 million years ago, the world was a vast ocean of mysteries and whispered songs. Imagine a still young Earth in its dance with the seas, where continents floated like gigantic islands, and the salty air carried the scent of newborn algae shells that echoed ancestral winds, and the distant song of waves shaping rocky shores. There were no bustling ports or iron ships. Instead, endless oceans covered the planet like a living blue mantle, with coral reefs rising like submerged cities, full of iridescent fish dancing to the rhythm of currents. Rushing rivers emptied into tranquil bays, their fresh waters mixing with the salt to create lagoons where life sprouted in vibrant colors. Submerged mountains, like oceanic ridges, rose like the spines of sleeping dragons, their slopes covered in anemones pulsing like hearts. In this Miocene era, marine life reigned supreme after the decline of great aquatic reptiles. There were the ancestors of whales, immense mammals with fins slicing the waters like gentle blades, their songs echoing for kilometers like primordial hymns. Agile predators, like ancestral sharks with serrated teeth, patrolled the depths, their cold eyes gleaming in the abyssal darkness. But beyond these creatures of scales and fins, there existed something more ethereal and primordial: the spirits of the waters. They were not visible on the agitated surface, but emerged in calms, weaving currents of harmony, dancing in air bubbles, and preserving the balance between the fury of storms and the peace of tides. It was in this world of intertwined waters that the legend of Iara'tu, the first voice of the ocean, was born. She was not a common mermaid, like those that would later populate human legends. Iara'tu was an aquatic entity, forged in volcanic depths and in the glow of stars reflected on waves. Her body was graceful, long like a marine current, covered in scales that changed tone with the light, from the deep blue of the abyss to the emerald green of lagoons. But what truly made Iara'tu unique was her voice, not a single one, but a harmonious chorus emerging from her throat like a symphony of shells and foam, capable of calming hurricanes or drawing lost souls into the sea's embrace. Her voice echoed not only in the air, but in minds and hearts, transmitting visions of submerged worlds and promises of salvation. Iara'tu did not feed on prey or plankton. She nourished herself on the essence of the waters, the salt of wave tears, the rhythm of tides rising and falling like breaths, and the pulse of thermal currents warming the cold depths. Her mission was sacred: to protect the primordial reefs, those sheltering the first corals and offspring of life after great submarine eruptions. 5 million years ago, the ocean was in constant transformation. Subaquatic volcanoes erupted with fury, creating ephemeral islands and ash clouds tinting the sea gray. Tsunamis rolled like liquid mountains, swallowing shores and rearranging the seafloor. Lightning storms illuminated the waves, and the full moon pulled tides, revealing buried secrets. But it was in these moments of aquatic chaos that Iara'tu appeared, like a serene song. She guided schools of fish to safe waters, calmed eruptions with her harmonious melody, and wove dreams of peace for creatures struggling against merciless currents. Chapter 1. The Awakening of the Fury of the Depths. In the heart of the primordial waters, where the reefs were most vibrant and ancient, lived a special people called the Singers of the Currents. They were not humans as we know them today, but ancestral beings, slender and adapted to the sea, with scaly skins shining like mother of pearl, and gills filtering salt like whispers. Their eyes were large and luminous, reflecting subaquatic stars, and they swam in harmony, using flexible fins to dance with the waves and polished shells as tools to weave seaweed nets. They spoke in soft melodies, like the gurgle of bubbles, and believed the ocean was a great living coral, where each wave was a vein, each reef a bone, and each tide a sigh of mother water. The leader of this clan was Mira, a wise and melodious female, with scales braided with coral threads, and a necklace of fossil pearls tinkling like submerged bells. Mira had been born during a new moontide, and from a young age, she dreamed of visions of a voice uniting the seas. Her companion, the young explorer Lirio, was her complement, adventurous and harmonious, with eyes capturing the glow of the depths and a song calming the fiercest predators. Together, they patrolled the edges of the reefs, collecting luminous plankton from warm currents, fleeing from curious sharks approaching too close, and weaving tide maps to guide the clan in moonless storms. On an apparently calm day, while Mira wove a protective net around the central reef, a subaquatic tremor shook the waters. Shells vibrated like cracked bells, and a muffled roar came from the depths, like the groan of a leviathan awakening from a millennial sleep. It was the fury of the depths, a distant submarine volcano slumbering for generations, now stirring with renewed rage. Black bubbles rose to the surface, and the sea filled with an acrid smell of sulfur, mixed with the perfume of closing algae and panic. The singers of the currents gathered in a current circle in the heart of the reef, touching scales to one another to feel the vibrations rising like sound waves. Mother Water cries for balance, sang Mira, her melody calm like the flow of a lagoon, but with an urgency making gills tremble. The fury of the depths awakens. We must reinforce the nets, wrap the offspring in coral cocoons, and prepare for migration. But I feel something more in the current, an ancient presence like a voice uniting the waters, calling us. The elders harmonized in agreement, while the young nestled against their parents, eyes wide with fear and fascination. Lirio, always the brave one, raised his fins. Then let's meet it, I'll sing the path through the tides. Mira smiled, but her eyes carried a shadow of concern. She knew the volcano was not just a furious mountain. It was a portal to abyssal forces, and the ocean's balance hung by a thread of foam. That night, under a moon reflecting like a broken mirror on the waves, the surface stirred with shooting stars, remnants of comets weeping for the water's agitation. The sea was charged with salty electricity, and the singers gathered around a bonfire of luminous plankton, chanting hymns begging for protection. It was then that Iara'tu emerged from the depths. Her sinuous body swam with fluid grace, scales leaving a trail of iridescent bubbles transforming into underwater flowers, blooming like fallen stars on the bottom. Her voice echoed in soft waves, a chorus harmonizing with the pulse of currents, illuminating the reef with a bluish light warming without burning. The singers froze in awe. The young hid in the cocoons, the sentinels raised their nets like shields, and the elders murmured melodies in abyssal dialects. Mira, however, felt a call in her aquatic soul. She swam a little forward, extending open fins in a sign of peace, palms up as if offering the rhythm of the waves. "O first voice of the deep waters," she sang, her melody firm despite the inner tremor. "You rise from the currents as friend or as guardian of the end? Mother Water tests us, and we seek harmony in her tides." Iara'tu halted her elegant swim, her body coiling around a colossal coral pillar like a living jewel. Her central chorus voice fixed on Mira, echoing with a depth making the waters vibrate like a giant harp. From that voice came not a shrill cry, but a symphony of salty warmth, a melody resonating in gills and forming images in rising bubbles. I am Iara'tu, the voice that creates and calms, sent from reflected stars to seal the fate of this beloved ocean. The fury of the depths will roar with impetus, bringing the end of an era with tsunamis of lava and abyssal darkness. But from its hot bubbles, something new and harmonious will be born, stronger than before. Follow me, singers of the currents, and I will guide you through the waves to come. Iara'tu's notes echoed in everyone's hearts, dispelling fear like foam in the wind. Mira bowed her head in reverence, and the entire clan followed, feeling for the first time that catastrophe could be not just destruction, but a symphony of rebirth. Chapter 2. The journey begins. Lessons of the wave melody. With the dawn of the tides, for the sun filtered in dancing rays, the journey began. The clan of singers of the currents, about 30, united and resilient souls, prepared their burdens in nets woven from resilient seaweed, coral seeds wrapped in marine leaves, polished shell tools crystallized plankton for the trip, and spine amulets capturing echoes of songs. Iara'tu led the flow, her sinuous body cutting the dense water like a living note. Her soft voice illuminated the path ahead, revealing hidden currents snaking between exposed reefs and murmuring lagoons. The water was warmer now, laden with the distant smell of sulfur and the bubbling of fish fleeing the growing heat. As they swam, Iara'tu began to teach her first secrets. "The wave is not an enemy," echoed her chorus, forming dancing bubbles around the group carrying harmonious visions. "'Tis the heart of creation. Listen." With a graceful movement, she emitted a pure note, expanding into a net of sound revealing safe thermal current veins. Sing with it, singers, and feel how the sea reveals what the surface hides. Mira was the first to try, her gills trembling slightly as she joined her melody to the entities. She closed her eyes, and harmonies flowed. Maps of protected lagoons, paths free of predators. Gradually, the note transformed into a protective aura, guiding without drowning. The singers watched entranced. Lirio, excited, joined his song to hers and used the vibration to weave a net capturing luminous plankton, creating the first food source of the journey. "Now we can nourish the young," he exclaimed, laughing as the soft glow filled the water. Other singers, like the healer Wave Whisperer, an elderly, slender female with star-patterned scales, and the weaver Coral Melodic, whose fins created nets snaring even the most treacherous currents, experimented too. Wave Whisperer used the melody to heal wounds with hidden algae, shaping poultices glowing in the dark. Coral Melodic saw potential in sonic threads, weaving stronger nets resisting the Fury's tsunamis. But the journey was not only one of joyful lessons. The volcano gurgled louder with each tide cycle, sending tremors, loosening corals like petals and fine ashes floating like dark snow. The sky above, once infinite blue, now tinted gray, and the sun struggled to penetrate volcanic clouds. The singers felt the weight of uncertainty. "What if the waves swallow us before the sanctuary?" murmured a mother, cradling her crying offspring. Iara'tu, sensing the doubts like dissonances in her sensitive voice, paused the group in calms and told stories of her origin to rekindle harmony. Chapter 3. Iara'tu's aquatic origin. Under the mantle of tides, now speckled with comets seeming to echo ancient falls, Iara'tu coiled her body around the camp reef, forming a protective circle of comforting currents. Her voice pulsed in rhythmic patterns, like a living shell, and from it emanated her ethereal symphony. Listen, children of the waters, to the story of how the stars merged with the sea to create me. Eons ago, before the primordial waters intertwined into their current form, the universe was a void of stellar oceans, floating in an infinite cosmos of darkness. Each star shone alone, yearning for union, but trapped in cold, eternal orbits. One of them, called Aquara, was the most melodious and curious of all. From her high post, she gazed at the young earth, a blue orb speckled with submarine volcanoes, and dreamed of the embrace of pulsing waves. "I want to sing with the rhythm throbbing below," thought Aquara, her glow trembling with emotion. And so, in an act of cosmic rebellion, she detached from her orbit, falling through layers of ethereal clouds and saline winds, like a tear of light tearing through the sky's veil. The impact was titanic, a boom echoing through the ends of space. The oceanic crust cracked like fragile shell, and lava gushed from deep wounds like boiling blood. From the violent fusion of celestial star and terrestrial water, Iara'tu was born. Her body formed first from foam streams, scales of melted quartz solidifying into flexible plates like marine silk, resistant to brine's touch. Then came the voice, each remnant fragment of Aquara transformed into a luminous chorus spread in her throat, capable not only of singing the present clearly, but of capturing echoes of the distant past, memories of drying oceans, and glimpses of an uncertain future, like reefs reborn from ashes. Iara'tu swam for the first time over the newly formed water, feeling Mother Water's pulse like a shared heartbeat. "I am the voice uniting sky and wave," echoed she to herself, her symphony still resonating like the crackle of distant bubbles. For millennia, she wandered alone through wild waters, shaping lagoons with her melody, planting corals in abyssal deserts by warming currents until tender sprouts burst forth. and calming volcanic storms with harmonious whispers. But fate, the invisible weaver, called her to the singers of the currents, a people born from the first tides after the great primordial drought. "I exist to remind that sky and sea are one," concluded Iara'tu, her voice shining brighter. "Each of my notes is a fallen star, guarding memories of drowned worlds and promises of worlds to flow. Follow me, and together we will seal the fury of the depths, transforming fury into flow." The singers, inspired, fell asleep that night with dreams of calm harmonies, feeling for the first time that the journey was not just survival, but an opera of evolution. Chapter 4. Shadowy Currents, the Devourer of Harmony and Her Specters. The journey's peace, however, was tested early, as the group navigated a volcanic rock submarine ravine, where echoes of ancestral wails still resounded on the walls like ghosts of past songs. A malevolent presence stirred in the currents. The Devourer of Harmony, Iara'tu's dark opposite, was born from abyssal darkness where light never penetrated. She was cold and dissonant, an entity hungry for melody, envying the celestial chorus of the guardian. Her body was a vortex of black water, with tentacles of toxic foam extending like silent claws, drowning everything they touched. Her servants were the specters of silence, subaquatic clouds whispering discords in the living's ears and devouring song notes with a spectral touch. The first attack came in a cloudy calm as the group rested by a bubbling lagoon. The moon hid suddenly, as if a giant claw covered it, and a cold current swept the reef, carrying mute howls. Corals groaned, their branches falling like silent petals, and the specters emerged from bottom fissures, ethereal forms writhing like submerged smoke. Mira raised her fin net, heart racing, but the shadows passed through it like silence, freezing scales and sowing panic. "Protect the young," she sang, while Lirio brandished a sounding shell, the vibration trembling against the supernatural cold. It was then that Iara'tu rose in all her glory. Her body uncoiled like a living wave of sound, whipping the water with a sharp note. Her chorus ignited in unison, creating a spectacle of harmony piercing the darkness like melodic arrows. "Return to the abyss from which you came, devourers of song," echoed her symphony of waves, resounding like a giant choir. The specters howled in discord, their forms dissolving into gray bubbles bursting at the touch of melody, but not without cost. A shadowy tentacle grabbed Lirio, Mira's companion, dragging him into a dark fissure in the reef. His cry echoed briefly before being swallowed by silence. The loss shook the clan like an emotional tide. Salty tears flowed like currents, and doubts grew like weeds in the hearts. "Why didn't the first voice protect us completely?" questioned Wave Whisperer, her melody trembling for the first time. Coral Melodic nestled his young, eyes full of fear. Iara'tu, with a gentleness contrasting her imposing presence, coiled her body around the wounded reef, transmitting a comforting harmony, warding off the residual silence. "Balance demands sacrifice, my singers," she explained, a note blinking softly at each downcast face. "I am voice, but voice needs silence to resonate. Without discord, there is no true melody. Lirio is not lost forever. He is the bridge between this world and the depths of currents. Trust, and he will return in harmony." That night, under Iara'tu's protective chorus, the clan united in a ritual of lament and hope. They lit plankton in a circle, chanting hymns blending sorrow and strength, and shared stories of past losses leading to greater symphonies. Mira, swimming beside the guardian, touched one of her scales and whispered, "Teach us to combat silence, Iara'tu." Not just with song, but with the collective rhythm. The first voice tilted her head, and from her chorus came glimpses, images of how melody could be woven into wave shields, or how united hymn could amplify each one's inner harmony. Chapter 5. Unexpected Allies and Trials in the Currents. Inspired by resilience, the singers proceeded in the next tide, the ravine giving way to subaquatic plains speckled with thorny algae and lagoons reflecting the gray sky. Iara'tu swam ahead, her chorus revealing hidden paths between black volcanic rocks like petrified veins of the sea. The journey led them to unexpected allies. A school of ancestral fish, creatures with thick scales and fins curved like crescent moons, grazed peacefully. These beings, precursors of future schools, felt Iara'tu's vibration and approached, their large eyes full of curiosity. The school's leader, an immense matriarch named Flowstrong, folded her fins in greeting, allowing the singers to group in their formations to carry the weakest and provisions. Even the surface sent help. A flock of ancestral seabirds, the tide messengers, dove into the waters, their iridescent feathers pulsing in flight codes. They pecked messages in air bubbles, warning of dangers ahead, like treacherous ravines or swarms of venomous jellyfish awakened by volcanic heat. Lirio, in his dreams in the depths, sent echoes through the birds, glimpses of healing corals and secrets of hidden lagoons. But the Devourer of Harmony did not give up easily. She sent false illusions to test the group's faith, mirages of lagoons with golden plankton, revealing treacherous black water whirlpools, sticky and clinging. It was thus that Mira, the impetuous sentinel with scars from past clashes against predators, fell into the trap. Seduced by a vision of illuminated reefs, she ventured into a shadowy vortex, sinking to her gills in water, sucking like hungry mouths. "Help!" she cried, panic tinting her melody as shadows whispered promises of eternal silence. Iara'tu dove without hesitation, her body warming the surrounding water until the vortex bubbled and released Mira with a reluctant sucking sound. The sentinel emerged covered in toxic sludge, coughing bubbles and gasping. "Thank you, first voice," she stammered, falling into a protective current. "I doubted you, thought silence was stronger." Iara'tu emitted a friendly note, her soft harmony washing the toxin from her soul. "Doubt is the beat of growth, Mira, like the pause between notes making the melody more beautiful. Without it there would be no higher symphonies. Swim, and use that lesson to protect the others." As they approached their destination, the lagoon of eternal voices, a submerged oasis promised by Iara'tu as a safe refuge, the volcano roared louder. Rocks flew from the depths like flaming meteors, and the water trembled as if Mother Water wept lava tears. Mira, exhausted but determined, swam beside the guardian, her net now interlaced with one of Iara'tu's scales, glowing with inner harmony. "What awaits us in the lagoon, voice of the waters?" she asked, salty sweat trickling down dusty scales. Iara'tu coiled a fold of her body around her, transmitting a melody invigorating tired muscles. "You will be reborn there, Mira. I will seal the fury of the depths with my eternal chorus, calming its rage. But a part of me will remain with you, in the voices of schools singing at night, in the melody of tides announcing new days, and in the pulse of your own hymns when you protect what you love." Chapter 6. The Epic Battle in the Lagoon of Eternal Voices. Finally, after tides of trials seeming like eons, the Lagoon of Eternal Voices appeared like a realized dream. It was a submerged paradise between coral cliffs, with crystal bubble cascades falling in silver veils, marine flowers singing to the rhythm of currents with vibrant petals, and a central lake whose healing waters bubbled with mineral vapor. Seaweed trees bent under the weight of luminescent fruits and blueberries, and the water was pure, washed by ascending currents. The singers exclaimed in joy, swimming to the waters to wash away the journey's grime, while the young laughed for the first time in days, splashing in shallow pools. But the joy was ephemeral. The Devourer of Harmony waited there, her colossal form blocking the entrance to the sacred lake, a swirling vortex of darkness with silenced tentacles extending like evil roots. "You shall not pass, drowned star," she hissed, her discord a chorus of icy whispers making gills ache. "This voice will be mine, and with it, the entire ocean will bow to eternal silence." The epic battle began. Iara'tu advanced with fierce grace, her body whipping like a sound spear, slicing the tentacles with bursts of pure melody. Her chorus exploded in blinding bursts of harmony, burning the shadowy edges of the Devourer, and forcing her to retreat with howls of pain. The enemy counterattacked with fury, enveloping Iara'tu in layers of icy silence, extinguishing her notes temporarily, sucking the voice from her chorus like a voracious parasite. The water filled with hissing bubbles and the reef cracked with the impact of their clashes, sending shockwaves toppling ancestral algae. The singers, terrified but resolute, watched from the lagoon's edges. Mira shouted above the chaos, "Remember Iara'tu's lessons. The voice needs us." They lit plankton in a great circle around the battle, using celestial scales to create unified harmonies. Their ancestral hymns rose like a sound wave, songs of light and union amplifying the Guardian's chorus. Wave whisperer beat shells in drum rhythms, choral melodic wove sound nets with heated threads, and Sira led the sentinels in a ritual dance invoking the moon. Even Flowstrong and her school joined, swimming in formation to send vibrations weakening the shadows. The water filled with collective harmony, fueling Iara'tu like wind in foam sails. Her chorus shone with stellar intensity, and with a symphonic roar echoing to the stars, she pierced the black heart of the Devourer. The shadowy entity imploded in a flash of collapsing silence on itself, its essences dissipating like mist at dawn, leaving only relieved quiet and a smell of salty ozone. Chapter 7. The Sacrifice and Rebirth. With the enemy defeated, Iara'tu ascended, yes, ascended, to the surface, her body stretching to the sky like a wave bridge. She emitted a pure chorus, sealing the volcanic crater with a gleaming coral crust, white like foam but veined with trapped stars. The roar ceased and the water calmed, but the price was high. Iara'tu sacrificed her full form, fragmenting into voice seeds falling like luminous rain across the ocean. Back in the lagoon, Mira found Lirio alive, saved by the healing waters. He told of visions in the abyss, where he learned secrets of deep currents. The singers rebuilt, planting Iara'tu's seeds. From them grew singing scale reefs, their branches forming light choruses at night. And in the voices of every creature, from fish to first marine mammals, echoed a note of the celestial choruses. Chapter 8. Iara'tu's Eternal Legacy. Years passed like tides, and Iara'tu's legend intertwined with the ocean. She became the Iara of indigenous stories, the mermaid protecting waters from imprudent navigators. But her original essence was purer, a reminder that voice is not just song, but creation, balance between sky and sea.